One more time. Down, down, down the road. Oh, down the witch's road. Where should we go one more time, gang? Oh, I know. Down, 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 down the road. So please, for the final time ever, question mark, probably, we will go down the witch's road and discuss the two-part finale of Agatha All Along. With me on this journey, as she has been the entirety of this run, all 9 episodes, our friend Katie Hampton. Katie, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me back.
Dabbling in mischief and whatever potionry or magic, whatever the witches are up to. And look, when we started, I don't know that I don't think the Vegas line was I believe it was plus 500. That's still with us for the finale would be our friend Nate Miller. But here he is after 9 episodes where, before the season, Nate, you were like, I'll watch a couple and I'll let you know. You hung in there. And I think that's the ultimate testament to the Witch's Road.
I did. I hung in there and I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed being with you. And I'm excited to talk about these episodes today.
And always looking for an excuse at screen time with this man. I'm happy to welcome back David Brody. Thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you. And for this episode, you may refer to me as Kaiser Soze if you explanation coming up later.
Oh, I don't worry.
Oh.
I have the same thought. Ivan Soto. I've never seen Kaiser Soze. Ivan, open your eyes. He's there right
the whole time.
now. And by the way, before we round out our panel, Daniel Drew, what about Up the Road? That's season 2.
Not
We're
into
going
that.
Up the Road. Yeah, that's not for everybody. And joining us, you can't read the description because of this setting on StreamYard, but listing himself as ZZ Bottom, it is indeed the one
up the road.
Only Count Eric Connor. Hello, sir. Oh, hello there. How are you this fine day?
Top coat, top hat. I don't care because my wallet's fat. Good to see you fine folks. Happy Halloween.
And you are always a sharp dressed man. We really appreciate you being here. Eric, for our audio audience, why don't you describe what kind of cockamamie getup you got on right now?
Well, it was either this or put this in the back, and actually put my Halloween costume away. And why would I do that when I could just, I'm going to do this. Just do this with you, lovely folk. Yes, I actually went as ZZ Top Gun, but the flight suit, let's just say, wasn't very forgiving of the shape of my road. So I opted to just straight up ZZ Bottom it today.
So what you're trying to say is that it highlighted not so much your road, but your cul-de-sac.
If you're looking for some tush, I was where you could find it. Good to see you.
Coming right out of the gate, Michael Walters. I don't know how we can call this great Marvel in compared to past projects like Winter Soldier. Oh, I have 2 words for you, Michael Walters. 2 words that we said we wouldn't say on this show.
SI.
Secret Invasion.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Sometimes we I appreciate it. Yeah. Sorry, I'm having a side chat that I don't want to highlight on the actual live show with our buddy Cam Egan. But Eric, you were there and Brody was there. Cam Egan is commenting on some banter during the special episode we did earlier this week, reviewing Venom: The Last Dance with my friend Adam Hughesy, the H-Man Hughes, over there in Ireland, and it was very colorful. I think we had a lot of fun. But there were a few of those moments where Cam Egan caught some shrapnel. But in any case,
just
I'm
by showing up and saying hi. I mean,
it was actually all she did. Yeah. In any case,
appreciate you.
I am happy to be talking here from the end of the road, and I think that I want to go with you first, Nate, because of the fact that you were not convinced you were going to enjoy this show. There were times where you clearly were not enjoying this show, a journey down the road that kind of mirrors my own, but you did stick with it. So how are you feeling now that your 9 episodes in the rear view mirror for you of Agatha All Along?
I'm feeling surprisingly good. This is why I love going into things with low expectations, because then, when they are exceeded, you're like, wow, this is awesome. I found the finale to be really satisfying. Even just like the combo of the episode before was really great. I wasn't here last week, but I really love the episode with the time skips as well. So it's weird for me. I have these expectations with a lot of the Marvel shows that they're like really good in the beginning, and then they kind of like middle and don't end like super satisfying. And I think this kind of had the opposite issue of, not to say the first episodes were bad, but the back half of this season really, like, for the first time, it feels like all those rewrites and edits and stuff that they were doing were really like really making a difference and really making the story better and tighter. And it was awesome. It was really good to see, like, this is the stuff I want from Marvel. Even if still like the witchcraft magic side is not like totally my favorite lane in the comics, I appreciate the care and thought that went into like how it fits into the universe, as well as like telling the story that they told. I do,
Yeah.
I do, I do. My one gripe is that I did want to see like some, VFX lightning bolts or laser battles or something with death in the end. I wanted some kind of like magic
Big thing.
display of magic. Yeah, big spectacle thing that's like cliche and overdone, but I still want it. I want to see a little bit of it.
Yeah, it's almost as if the big showdown was settled over a rousing chess match, and then it was like, checkmate. I'm walking up and I'm leaving. So long. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here. This is the most. Might have been the craziest thing I've ever seen someone say in our chat. This is maybe, again, Michael Walters. This is maybe one tiny step better than Secret Invasion, but not by much. That's down. I mean, you've literally blown my mind. But this, yeah, I mean, no one will ever rewatch this. I can't imagine
This
I
guy
would rewatch
is so
this.
fucking pissed.
He is.
Why are you
yeah.
here right now?
Well, no. I have no problem with that. I love everybody being here. I'm glad that people are here. And yes, Daniel Drew chimes in with chess. You say, we do know that we often miss him here in the chat.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so we appreciate him being here. Katie, I think that you're the person who it's sort of like, I don't know what that is. So somebody warming up their bass. Is ZZ Top doing sound check right now, Eric?
Oh, sorry. What was that?
You're sort of like the proverbial, like, just, Great Plains State, just a flat line the whole time. Yes, you enjoyed some episodes more than others, but you were consistently like on board for the show. Katie, how did you feel that episodes 8 and 9 finished off this season or possibly series?
It wasn't anything too eye-openingly like crazy to me. Like I wasn't as big a fan of these last two episodes, but I loved the way it ended. I do think it ended a lot better than WandaVision. I think they kind of stuck the landing on that, which I thought was really cool. I like the implication of where everything might be going. I was a little bummed that we ended up making it Billy's mind was the road in a way. I was a little bummed by that because it felt like a lot of the secrets that they were trying to keep from us were kind of busted open easily. But apart from that, I thought it was really well done. I had a lot of fun with this series. I thought this was a great thing to have on Halloween to just enjoy. And sorry, Michael, I will be rewatching this. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with the series, and I thought Aubrey Plaza did an incredible job, and I'm very excited to see her in the future.
Yeah, I was definitely won back over by Aubrey Plaza. I only really had about a week where I was still shell shocked from her appearance in Megalopolis, and again, it's not her fault. It's just being associated with it. I don't think I can ever watch Adam Driver in anything again after that. But I was already like about halfway there, so that's not really. Brody,
Yes,
I know what you're most excited about. We got the song, and then we got the song, and then the credits. We got the song
a lot
again.
of the song.
we got most importantly, we got the history and behind the music of the song.
People are saying it's a great song. It's the best song. Everybody's singing the song. Everybody is singing The Witch's Road. Brody, I know you sang along, didn't you?
People came up to me, tears in their eyes. They said it's a great song, good song, best song. Yeah, you know what? I was hoping for the kid to die sooner with the song, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed episode 8. I love the cliffhanger, although I think the cliffhanger is not a great cliffhanger when episode 9 is already out and you can just go watch it. I would have liked to have had the 1 week of, and then
you would have wanted that, and then speculated.
Well, only because then we could have done a podcast about what we thought he saw, and then there's like drama, and you watch videos and you talk about it. This was like cliffhanger, and click the next episode.
Yeah.
So that was anticlimactic for me, but climactic, excuse me. But I loved 9, except for the Kaiser Soze thing. Once I realized what was going on, I'm like, clever. It made it interesting. Then I had to rethink the whole show. So I like that aspect of it. I thought it ended well. My only problem is the end, and I will say the ending, that this woman who was willing to give him up and hand him over to death, and then she's like, all right, we're a team now. He's like, okay, cool. I thought that was odd.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's probably always the long game, I guess that
I think there's a lot of mysteries that we don't know about Agatha even still. And I was a little bummed that we didn't get a lot of answers, but at the same time, it leaves a lot more to discover.
Well, Agatha's hundreds of years old, so I think at some point in the last 47, she had a chance to watch Star Wars, and then she remembered that Obi-Wan says, "You'll only make me stronger." So she's like, oh, wait, I got an idea. How about I die? And I want to, before we go too far past this, Ivan Soto, the Kaiser Soze ending of episode 8 must have been on purpose. Yes, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
It was the only thing missing was finding out that Billy had been in a barbershop quartet. The reveal is pretty much everything that that moment was. And it is definitely a fun reveal. And then, we do hear Agatha's voice off camera, and we'll go through the episodes. But I think that it would have been fun to do an episode and then have another week to wait for 9. But they just wanted to end big, and that's fine. Beard, which the joke about ZZ Top is that the guy without the long beard, his nickname is Beard.
And
that's the best.
Well,
thing.
his name is Frank Beard. Frank Beard is his name.
That's not the point. The point is he's the one without the beard. Okay, that's my point. Yes. Eric Top, what did you think about these final 2?
I think it was the second to last episode to me was terrific. And Nate had a really great point. I know Nate was a reluctant traveler down this road, and yet you could see, unlike a marathon, the last mile was not the hardest. It was actually, dare I say, where they really found their footing. I think this show kind of started a little, maybe a touch wobbly, although I don't think there were any episodes that I was like, nope. I think they all were solid. I think this has always been legitimate TV, a legitimate series. And then those middle episodes, I do have to shout out a dear friend, Rachel Goldberg, who directed episode 3, 4, 5, which is also why I opted to maybe stay in the shadows on this for a little while till after episodes air. But I thought she did great.
Eric, we were saying you had a very busy class schedule those weeks, and that's why you weren't on.
That was also true.
Are you calling me? Are you calling me a liar on our own show right now?
I have alternate facts, is how I'd put it.
Just don't up to it.
You guys also actually did meet during a class, so it was a 1-2 punch of it, in fact. So it's not entirely wrong. But these last few episodes, I thought, whatever happened behind the scenes, if there was rewrites, if they had to re-edit things, whatever it was, this thing definitely picked up steam as it went on. And it got richer and fuller, and weirdly enough, the one issue I think was kind of like Agatha sometimes got lost in the along the way of this road, and Catherine Hahn always gives all of Catherine Hahn to her performances, and she had some great moments, but she's a little hard to track in the storytelling of this season, which I know is part of the purpose. It's intentional. It's by design. We're supposed to always be a little confused about what she's up to. But that second to last episode I thought was terrific. The first half of the last episode was surprisingly moving. The stuff of her with her son that they made us wait 8 episodes to get there.
Mm.
And man, it was a doozy. I want more time. That got me. Absolutely got me. The last half of this episode, it was fine. I hope the next season is sort of like the Lost classic, The Ghost and Mr. Chicken with Don Knotts. I do hope they follow that.
I would have guessed you were an Apple Dumpling Gang guy, but all right, you can.
I'm a many thing gang.
Okay,
But yes, I think the show really showed Marvel's kind of like found its footing. I think and I'm excited for a lot of the series coming up. I think they got their ship in order, and I'm ready to keep going with them.
Yeah, no, I agree. Daniel commenting on what we said earlier.
Yes,
I
Bill.
also think she has a plan as a ghost. Plus,
Oh,
she
yeah.
doesn't want to face Nicholas yet, hence staying a ghost. And I kind of remember that Daniel's always gets in early. He's here before we are, and he wanted to let us know that he enjoyed both episodes. Number 8 felt like a normal MCU show finale, and then there was more. The moment he looked at the tree sculpture in his room is when he realized he'd made the road, and that is what we're talking about, sort of the Kaiser Soze moment. And Daniel, I know, is a big fan of the ballad. Loved seeing the evolution from a nursery rhyme to folk song to something truly meaningful and powerful in the magical world. I mentioned to everybody off air, but I don't think I've talked about this on the show, that we did, my wife and I did a karaoke night with friends a couple weekends ago. Is at their house, and they have an app. And my friend Mindy, who's actually been on the show in the past, she does a lot of online content about Disney parks. So when Avengers Campus was opening, we had her on, and she queued up The Witch's Road, which was there, and so
Nice.
there is a karaoke version available.
Good to know.
If I'm telling that story for the second time, so be it. Daniel's also wondering, she's a ghost for a period of time in the comics. I know that when the 2015 Scarlet Witch run started, Agatha was a ghost still. Not sure when she started is when. I am actually not sure of the timeline. The Agatha Harkness I remember, obviously Agatha's hundreds of years old, but I mean, she looked like a really old lady, and not Catherine Hahn. So, obviously they're kind of picking and choosing what it is that they do want to feature. And I know that Michael is letting us know that he's not mad. Just doesn't understand why we're okay with mediocrity to poor content nowadays.
Sounds like you're mad, bro.
Michael, this is the year 2024. Mediocrity is the name of the game.
No, you will agree with Michael, or you're wrong.
Exactly.
You must like what I like to the amount of level I like, and if you like it more or less, you're wrong.
I don't know anything that excels. Anything that surpasses expectations. Expectations.
The fact that we like actually had a fully fleshed out show, I think is a good sign. It honestly, this show kind of reminded me of Loki in that we have more questions, we have more length to travel on sort of these different mysteries, and they're making it their own. They're making it within their own universe, not necessarily a one-to-one to the comics. I thought that was what was really great about this show. I loved the acting. The directing was incredible as well. I thought this was miles better than some other stuff that we have seen. I wouldn't call this mediocre by any stretch of the imagination.
By the way, I'm glad, this sort of came up in passing, I think, on last week's show, and our end of the year special that we're going to do as part of the annual Geekscape fundraiser in December. I'll give the official date before we're done. We're all going to rank personally our favorite all the Marvel shows on Disney Plus, specifically Disney Plus. We're not counting Netflix. No free form. Nobody gets to sneak in with The Gifted, even though we all know how great it was.
Can I mention Cloak but not Dagger?
Wait,
No,
so
you
even though they're
Right.
going from Netflix Daredevil doesn't count?
Well, here's why, Nate. Have you seen the Disney Plus season of Daredevil yet?
You
Don't talk down to him.
You don't. Yeah, you don't know. I could have. I
I'm gonna go out on a limb.
That's a great
I'm gonna
point.
go
Well,
out
if
on a
you
limb.
have, then you can put it first. But it's stuff that's aired on stuff that was produced for Disney Plus that we've actually seen.
Christian, can we take the 4 seconds of Wonder Man that was in the trailer that was released this week and put that above Secret Invasion already?
You know what? I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check with our judges, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna allow that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Because you
Thank you
did
very much.
see it.
I'm also
Yeah.
going to put the Croatian title, the Croatian cast for this above
Good.
Secret Invasion as well.
Oh,
Good,
bravo.
good.
Great work on the Croatian cast. Some of the best.
Fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
those credits, that 10 seconds, so much better than Secret Invasion.
By the way, Daniel had this great comment that I figure you'll appreciate. Eric and Brody
do.
joined me for our season 2 of Hit Monkey. I hope a second season would be similar to Hit Monkey, main character and a ghost. I think a second season of Agatha might, and I'm saying might, have a smaller body count. And I say might because as we learn from the flashback, sort of the backstory, Katie, there's a lot of dead witches.
There's a lot of dead witches, and there's a lot that's like shown but not said about why that's happening. And we're assuming it's just so she can keep her power, so she can live longer. It seems like her conversation with Death is that she's been allowed to do this in order to stay alive for so long. I would love to know more about that initial deal and how perhaps Nicholas Scratch was part of that deal until the day that he refused to help Agatha kill some witches. I would love to know if that was any kind of piece in the fact that, all right, your time's up now, kid. Like, if that's the case, wow, that's some dark shit. But the body count is vast when it comes to Agatha. There is a reason she's a covenless witch.
Is that why the kid died, by the way?
I think
I don't
it is.
I think the kid was sick.
Well,
the kid was sick. He was coughing, but was the deal that she could create a baby from scratch and cheat life?
Well,
if
but
there was a
here's the
time
other
limit?
thing. Here's the other thing. We're never told whether or not Nicholas Scratch was Agatha's own actual life creation after killing so many witches. That was the one thing she created from scratch, or if she hopped on some pogo stick that we don't know about.
wait a minute. So are you saying that this could be a baby that was created by the Force? Is that what you're saying? That's a very controversial
It
topic.
could be
in
an immaculate
2024.
baby. We don't know, but that's the thing. Those are the questions that we didn't get answers to.
We go back to the pogo stick.
We could go back to the pogo stick. So who's the pogo stick? You know what I'm saying? Who's the dude? Is it just some dude? Or was there other things at play? That's the thing that we don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, my impression is this, that she did have a naturally conceived baby that was going to die, and she's very upset. We see that scene, and Death's like, look, I'm going to help you, but you're going to owe me. So then the killing the witches is like, great, I get their powers, Death gets their body count,
Was she
and
doing that
Nicholas
before?
Scratch is going to help me until he doesn't want to help me. What were you going to say, Katie?
Eric knows where I'm going with this, but do we know that she was killing witches before? We do know that she was in a relationship with Death because she calls her my love. If you do this, my love, I will never forgive you. Like, I'll be mad at you forever, whatever. So we already know that her and Death have already been in a relationship to the point when Nicholas Scratch is initially supposed to be birthed and killed. Yeah. We don't know the circumstances before that, any of that. We don't know whether or not she had a deal with Death. We do know that they were in a relationship. So if they were in a relationship, fine. There are people that swing many different ways. That's cool. Is it an immaculate conception type of situation where she created it within herself and like through magic? Did she cheat it? Oh, go ahead.
She said, I created you from scratch. That's why she named him. That's why he's Nicholas Scratch.
Yeah, but,
but
that's
my
all
beautiful
she said.
baby. Yeah, but if she had sex with a pogo stick, that's not creating him from scratch. She said, I created you from scratch. So there's no father.
So
now,
then
whether she made a deal
why was that? Why was that? And then how did she make him from scratch? Like what of her powers do we know that she can make something tangible, something real?
Maybe that was the deal with maybe that was the deal with Death. And Death gave her a baby somehow.
But then had to take it away.
What was the
Nate
deal
has
for
an alternative theory. What do you think, Nate?
It could also be she's doing some like I think it is intentionally left vague, especially because the character, while the having died, is still going to be around. So there's lots of interesting conversations for her to have with Billy about her past and stuff like that. But if I'm speculating, uh, the time, like when she's there, it's implied that she has this relationship with Death. In the comics, Death has a similar relationship with Thanos.
Mhm.
A lot of it is tied to the amount of death and destruction that he causes. And so similarly, if we're following the same vein, it makes a lot of sense for her to have been doing this already. And it just got ramped up with the song because she had a way to quickly gather enough witches for her to be able to like serially do it. But even before she had developed that, we see her with the baby walk into the camp. So if I'm speculating, I think that she has this relationship with Death because of her prior things,
past.
escapades, whatever,
Yeah.
right? She conceives this life that is not supposed to survive because right when the baby's about to be born, that's when we see Death, right? So the baby was supposed to die immediately, probably because that kind of magic doesn't work or it's against the rules or whatever. But because of her prior relationship with Death, Death says, look, I can't, the baby has to die. I
I'll
can
give you
give you some time. That's the best I can do. So they get that time, right? The baby gets sick, like when he's coughing when he's singing the song. At first I'm like, okay, that's part of the con to get, you know, closer to some witches or whatever, but then he's coughing again when he's talking to Agatha. So it's like, oh no, he's actually sick. He just dies. Like that was the timer that she had gave him, it just expired. The time is up. And she even, you know, told him to give him a kiss. And like she, it genuinely read to me like this is not something she enjoyed doing as much as
Oh,
something she
yeah,
has to
I
do.
agree.
These are the
No,
rules.
absolutely. I mean, and we've talked about Death itself in the comics and how it's she's there for balance. She's there to balance out. She's a cosmic being that is supposed to take care of different things. It's why Thanos wanted to impress her to kill half the universe. Like, I mean, Thanos' whole thing was to impress Death to
Correct.
create that whole balance. I'm wondering if that kind of a deal was in play, especially when it comes to these witches. I don't understand why Agatha has to kill witches in order to keep going on or keep absorbing their power. I want to know if there is any kind of connection between Agatha and Death in a similar sort of trying to impress her type of way of killing all these witches, and why she herself is also a witch. I find that way more interesting, and especially to the point that the moment that Nicholas Scratch does not allow Death to take away witches who in every scene that we see them in are helping out. They're worried about Nicholas and his health. You seem so wispy, which that kid did not seem that wispy, but they're like, you know, we'll feed you. We're good for like keeping you alive a little bit longer. I'm wondering if Death also has sort of an angst against witches for prolonging life. And I think that's an interesting dynamic as well.
Well, there's a
Definitely.
couple of things at play as we sort of deal with this part of the story. The first is that they do the thing that in so much media, movies, TV shows, whatever, as soon as we need to, as an audience, come to terms with the fact that a child's going to die, we see them and they go, oh my God, already? All right, this is going to be sad. And then also, there's this idea of Nicholas Scratch. Everyone's throwing around the idea, and this in the blogosphere, in the live chat, on the panel, that is it an immaculate conception? But yet, no one's floated the idea. Is it a result of the Immaculate Collection, Madonna's collection of 17 number one hits? No one has put that forth until me right now. And I think it's something that bears more conversation.
You have
Maybe I'm
just
alone
crossed
in
the
this.
border. You just crossed the borderline for me. I'm sorry.
You wish
I'm
for a
sorry,
kid on a
Nate.
lucky
Borderlands.
I'm
star.
sorry, Nate, but he did it. And by the way, before we move on, a great friend of this show and also of the Blackcast, Greg Robinson,
Greg Robinson,
staying up
correct.
late across the
Yes.
pond, wanted to poke his head in for the finale, enjoyed the series. Not sure which show I like the most. Thank
Nice.
you, Craig.
Nice. Well played.
Ah.
Well, one thing I wanted to add to this. Okay, what if the deal was time? I can't save my son, but I can have a son, as opposed to losing him in the womb. So in essence, the deal was, all right, give me time. and you'll get all the witch bodies you can handle, Miss Death, which is a possibility, and also a really creepy trade.
Yeah.
In essence, saying I'm not doing this to save my son. I'm doing this so I have whatever time I have. 2, his health reminds me when I many years ago directed a small production of a Christmas Carol, and the kid they gave me to play Tiny Tim was robust Tim. Dare I say portly Tim?
I thought you were implying that he was HGH Tim. You know,
Tiny continent Tim.
He was always having creatine, and he was lifting during intermission.
Swole Tim.
he died doing push-ups on stage
on his crutches.
Right. And then also I wanted to make sure everyone knew this episode sponsored by Flybar Pogo Sticks.
Ding that bell.
Oh, thank you.
No, don't.
No.
I don't need your ding.
By the way, Daniel, I'm glad you mentioned this because I did bring it up backstage, and I'll show it. So, go ahead, Eric. Read Daniel Drew's comment while I bring up what he sent to me.
Daniel Drew says, I also love that Death's skull face was practical. And in parentheses, he added, I sent Christian Aubrey's IG, aka Instagram, for those who don't know, story with the prosthetics details. Yes, in fact, when I saw this, I was like, "Oh, cool! She's celebrating Dia de los Muertos," and so I appreciated the slight appropriation from a fellow Delawarean.
Oh yeah, some of Delaware's proudest. And by the way, if you look really close to the left, you can see who I have private messages from on Instagram, and I'm glad there's nothing embarrassing in there. It's I see Eric Connor there, I see David Brody there, and Daniel Drew. So nothing to be ashamed about, but it just means that in the future, I guess I need to do that.
Yeah, probably best. Great like practical effects. I didn't realize they were practical. And really well done. And I like that they did it in the flash of the lightning. I thought that was a really cool effect.
Ivan Soto, I love that Death in the MCU is Hispanic. I mean, look, I think it's an issue of
Delawarean.
And
I gotta keep.
Let's not have that. Probably most famous person from Delaware. I can't think of anyone from Delaware who gets more attention than Aubrey Plaza. Nobody comes to mind. Eric Connor's probably number 2.
There's someone else, but I forget.
Technically not born in Delaware, so
I know he's from
Scranton. But he had a residence there that almost got.
He didn't call himself Delaware Joe. He calls himself Scranton Joe from Scranton
or Amtrak Joe.
Amtrak Joe. Yeah.
Only somebody from Delaware is gonna enjoy spending time in Rehoboth Beach. Oh shit! Yeah, I said it. Oh my gosh, what do we have here, Eric? Hold on 1 second. I didn't realize that there were going to be props today.
Yes, there was
Carmela Creeper.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. So for our audio audience, and then also for people who don't know, I think most of us are familiar with the General Mills Halloween character, breakfast cereals,
the monster cereals,
Count Chocula, Frankenberry, my favorite Boo Berry. There's a box downstairs, and Carmela Creeper, which just sounds like something that Tony Soprano would yell when he came downstairs one morning. But why are you sharing this bowl of green?
So much dye.
It looks like you chewed it up so you could feed it to a praying mantis. What exactly are you? Oh
no.
Eric, I'm a little worried about your diet. I'm not gonna lie. Like this is a lot of.
You've never even gone to a movie with him, believe me. Why are you sharing Carmela Creeper? That's what I'm wondering. What's the tie-in? Is it because she's also like Lady Death, and then also if I eat this Loki sauce, I would die?
Yeah. Season of the Witch.
Sure. And by the way, I only ate half a bowl of this. My kids ate the lion's share of it, or the witch's share, and it I don't know what flavor it is. Like I had some, and I'm
isn't it apple?
I think it's caramel apple, but yeah, I just don't know. And
maybe it's the Snow White apple flavor.
Oh shit!
No!
I guess we'll see if I'm here next week.
I can't wait to edit together a bunch of highlights to I Will Remember You. Oh my God, that's from breakfast. Don't do that. Kemi Egan saying Nate looks like he wants to launch his lunch. It doesn't look appetizing, but Kemi Egan, this is an important question. Was there a toy surprise? I don't think so. Most breakfast cereals don't give you. Oh, there was a toy.
I'm the toy surprise.
That's on me. I shouldn't. You know what? Oh,
It was right there.
Send in your box
enough.
tabs for a nice ZZ bottom.
Out of context, that's very confusing. Kemi Egan says that Death's costume was terrific. Her crown looked like a mashup of Scarlet Witch and Billy's crowns. Let's take a minute and talk about Billy's getup. I liked seeing that.
Billy's got comic accurate.
Yeah, it's actual comic accurate. We'd seen sort of like a hint of it. We had the crown, as it were. I enjoyed seeing that. What did you guys think? What did you think, Nate, of that specific reveal?
I thought it was cool. I mean, we had kind of seen it a little bit we'd seen the crown in the other episode. I do like that it does look like it's out of a comic book. They embrace the colors and stuff. I don't know. I'm not blown away. I personally am not a fan of the crown. I understand that they want to keep it kind of like related to the Scarlet Witch crown that she had, and so it has that same kind of like structural design. I kind of like I don't know. I like the earlier Young Avengers look where it's more of just kind of like a plate kind of a thing, which is not as exciting. But
this is part of a story that Daniel Drew sent to us. This is also on Instagram, and so there's a few others in here, and we see the prosthetics for when she's all cut up. And so we get to see, some of these locations they used. And you know what? Let's go ahead and give Catherine Hahn a follow on IG, which, as Eric pointed out, stands for Instagram. Mother Hahn. And she found sort of this tomb of Harkness. So kind of fun stuff there. Anybody else have any thoughts on Billy's duds, as it were, on the comic book accurate or semi-accurate costume that he was wearing? Katie?
I would have loved a little explanation why, but I mean, it was nice. It was a fun moment. I was like, oh, cool. And then also seeing Agatha in full comic accurate sort of stuff at the end, I thought was also really cool. It was a little bit like out of nowhere. It was like, oh, they're out of the Witch's Road, and oh, yay, Jen survived, like I predicted. But then and then he shows up in the full costume, and I was like, cool, okay. Great. I was like, I guess we're in the final battle now. Cool.
The slow descent from the sky did bother me a little bit.
Oh yeah, because it was so Scarlet Witch, or
it was just so I could see the wires because it was so slow, but also like you just like knocked over the like embodiment of death. Like have a little bit of urgency, Like it just kind of already a moment that had some kind of weird pacing.
Sure.
And he was just like beauty pose, like floating down. Like I get it. It looks cool. The magic looked cool, but like just a little bit faster, I think would have been nicer.
Yeah, it's almost like a Shakespearean death scene. It's like you've already consumed the poison. Perhaps now I die. And a page and a half later, they eventually drop down in a heap. It's like, we get it. Come on, Billy, let's move it along. At least this wasn't one of those 24-minute episodes, because I would have been upset there.
But was anyone else like when they revealed Alice's body going like, what are they gonna do? And then it was just like, nah, you're dead, time to go. It was like, man, they just shafted that character so hard.
Yeah, that's a great. Yeah, I did. When I was watching, that was one of the things. Like, I wanted to make sure we talk about the fact that we were sort of thinking like, okay, well, Alice died, but maybe we'll go back and maybe we'll get. But at the very end of the credits, we did get like her mom's version of the Witch's Road. So there's that, Katie. That wasn't enough for you?
Fine, whatever. Fine.
They brought her back to kill her again. It was kind of a strange choice.
Right, exactly. And it was also like, oh, but that's it. You're like, your protection wish. Of course, you protected someone. Good job. Get out of here. Okay. Sorry, that actress. Never see
Which,
you
by the way,
again.
that's what they called her on set on the call sheet. It was number 12.
Yeah.
They were just like, we're not going to take the time to learn your name, honey, because
I actually enjoy. I don't want to. Enjoy is not the right word. I appreciate that they did that, because I think some of what the MCU is missing is a little bit of stakes of like people dying, and it also the whole realization of Billy later of realizing like, well, then that means that
Yeah.
I'm a killer. Like that, you don't get to have that if some people don't die. So it added a little bit more teeth to this show. Like I can tell you right now, if everybody lived, we all would have been like, okay,
I've been
somebody
pissed,
should have
yeah.
died.
Yeah.
It just feels kind of bad because she didn't get developed that much, but also with the pacing issue that they've had lately, I feel like
Yeah,
this is the
yeah.
lesser of two evils of
Agree. Like if they had spent more time on Alice, I probably would have been annoyed. I will admit that freely. It felt like she was introduced in order to die, and it felt a bit sacrificial,
Well,
which
Yeah.
might be the reason why.
she at least got more credit than look. I mean, because they doubled up a couple times. This is our 6th reaction episode that we're doing to Agatha All Along. I think at no point in any of these episodes did somebody say, "Yeah, I really wanted more Deborah Jo Rupp. I really thought that she." So you want to talk about a character that was brought in just for the sake
in
of like
time.
we need another body, and she, we at least want to give Alice a couple of lines. Yeah, I mean, I think that so her notwithstanding, somebody said it in the chat. Yeah, Daniel did. Thank you, Daniel. I think maybe they just didn't know that people would want more Alice. They knew nobody wanted more Deborah Jo Rupp, But look, they canceled that 90s show, so Deborah Jo Rupp could have used another check.
She could have.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll come back.
You know what though?
But no,
That's sorry, but the original show went into double syndication with 200 episodes. So you know what, Deborah Jo Rupp's fine. Anyway, go
she's
ahead.
great.
Katie.
She's totally great. Yeah. No, and I agree with you, Nate. Like it is nice to see the MCU committing to a death, especially while we're still sitting here wondering whether or not the Scarlet Witch is around or not in some capacity. So we always have that question: will we see them again in some other show or in some other capacity or as a ghost or whatever? To say like, not that's it, that's your time, and like solidify it right then and there. I will say, looking back on it now, I am grateful for that. Yeah,
They're all coming back in Blade.
Hero's death
Every
too.
one of them.
Now, I want to know if Michael Walters is agreeing that Alice was the best part of the show, or is he trolling us and saying that Deborah Jo Rupp was the best
Deborah Jo Rupp was the best part of the show.
Before anyone says anything, make sure you like whichever person he's talking about exactly the amount he likes them.
Yeah. And by the way,
Michael Walters is very pro Rupp.
Kame Egan, please refer to her as Mrs. Hart, which, by the way, it was one of these episodes where she came up and I was like, who?
Yeah, it was
nice.
It was the second, it was the 9th episode when
episode.
Teen was having the conversation with Agatha. That was hysterical. I love that runner joke that that she still has no clue who she is.
And by the way, because I know Katie in particular always wants to know, I did not do laundry during either of these episodes.
Wow.
We had enough,
In fact, he hasn't done it for a month at all.
No. There's a couple. One of those episodes you couldn't come on for. I folded a lot of laundry.
I do want to say really quick on the Alice thing that I do think there is a very strong chance that as we continue down Billy's path as Wiccan, that we get a let's remember episode where he like summons her or something to apologize and they make up or something like that. Like I could very much see that happening in the young adult show future that is coming.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I know. I and we talked about in one of the last couple episodes that there is this plan for Tommy Quest. That's not what it's called, but that's what I'm calling it. There is going to be.
Should be.
I don't think it's going to be a season of Agatha All Along, because if you know anything about show business, anytime that you can start a new show that continues an old show. Like all those Disney Channel shows where all of a sudden it's like, well, they used to work in a hotel, but now they're on a cruise ship and it's a different show. Everybody's contract starts over in season 1. So yeah, I do believe there won't be a continuation of Agatha All Along. And I think that there will probably be special guest appearances by Catherine Hahn, but
and maybe Agatha will just come by one day to say hello.
Or maybe they'll just be climbing up the side of the building like in the old Adam West Batman, and then she'll pop out of one of the windows.
Do we think that
Nate's laughing because he's like, you know what? That would actually be pretty great. You know I'm right. What were you going to say, Katie? I'm sorry.
I was just going to ask everyone, do we think we're going to ever see Aubrey Plaza and Ryan Reynolds on screen together in a MCU movie?
Why would we not get to see them?
Snark off?
A snark off, a nice snark off.
Yeah.
It depends on what they do with Deadpool going forward, but yeah.
I mean,
worth.
Yeah, I mean, I think that death can very well show up in, you know, the non-Kang dynasty, Doom dynasty. I know that's not what it's called. The Doom dynasty. Certainly there is a spot for death, and you have cast someone who, as I was talking about earlier, does star in movies. She did have her own movie, which I never actually got around to seeing because I heard that her movie, my old ass, I heard it was good and it was funny. And I only go to the theater to see shitty movies. So
clearly.
No, I like Saturday night. I have to say. Yeah, exactly. So, oh yeah, and Ivan appreciated Sweet Life on Deck. Nice. See, that's what I like. I like when people know what I'm talking about.
It's a great example.
Michael Walters with Young Avengers will be the biggest bomb of all time.
He's not mad, you guys.
Hey, bro, what's with all the haterade?
I even made a poster for that, Christian. I'm already up and running with that one.
Oh, is that?
I don't think Young Avengers will be a bigger bomb than Joker 2 or Megalopolis,
or Secret Invasion,
or Madam Web. Right.
Okay. I mean, again, I didn't hate it, but Eternals comes to mind. You know that. Let's just say that was not a success. So, Eric, was that your way to say that? I sent you all these pictures.
Nah, dude, it's your show. I'm just here with a beer.
No, it's all of our. Well, no, it's not. That's not true. It's not all. I was going to say it's all of our show, but no, it's Michael Walters' show.
Clearly.
Yeah. This is not a show, but we will. We're okay. So. We'll take this. What I like about Eric's pictures is that usually they help me realize the things that I forgot that I wanted to actually recap because we get so bogged down and all of that. And this was a set that I actually really liked. That yesterday they wake up in the morgue and it had the lights at the top that continued to go out as they got further along in the challenge. I mean, God damn it, Michael Walters. I just can't get a fucking read on you, bro.
And he's got stop it.
By the way, I didn't. I'm on record as saying as I didn't hate it. I just think there should have been 6 Eternals instead of 12. You can tell a better story. But
anyway, go back to the actual episode of television that we are here to talk about.
I know, but Katie, I saw that. How am I going to not comment on that, Katie?
It's hilarious. It's so fitting. But I love the
you know what? Now Katie's back on the same page as us. I don't have much.
Why did androids have accents? That's what I want to know.
That's a good question. Because they're all clones, obviously. So they
got programmed overseas.
Yeah, exactly.
Because accents are fun.
Yeah, there it is. That's the real reason.
You're gonna live over 100 years using the same accent? Come on.
all those clones on Star Wars sound like Timon Morrison, So I mean, so we're talking about this set, Katie. Yes.
I love the line that Agatha has in this where they're like, where are we right now? And she's like, I don't know, probably somewhere in my basement or something. And I was just like, okay, are we confirming this yet? But they didn't. They had to wait till the end of the episode to confirm that this is all in Teen's mind. But this was an interesting one.
Well, it's not in Teen's mind. It's much more terrifying than that. He built an entire construct of reality.
Created his own hex,
It's the ending of Saint Elsewhere, basically, is what you're saying.
Well, also the
greatest
with them finding the tunnels that like Miss Hart led them through earlier.
Yep.
Is that like it actually is inhabiting the space underneath the city.
Yeah.
Underneath the town. That's crazy.
But like to think that like Agatha knew this the entire time to know that like. Well, yeah, of course she did, because she knows that the road is fake. They came up with it. It was a whole ploy in order to get them all. But like, how great to rewatch that and just be like, oh, she knew at this moment. She knew at this moment.
Yeah, there's so many moments that like it really. I it's not. I don't feel very often that I'm like really totally fooled by a twist, especially one that has so many clues and for it to make so much sense. That I was like a little upset that I didn't see this coming. Like it makes, especially this is the successor to WandaVision, and it's
Mhm.
like the exact same gag. It's the exact
Yeah.
same mystery, and it's
Mhm.
the son, and the whole thing is about how they're like the same. And I did not even at any point consider like maybe this is all just a fabrication.
I
And
thought
she
we
even
I thought we did. I thought Brody, didn't you even say like there's so much in his bedroom that seemed to be on the road and everything was kind of modeled. I thought you had said that. Am I
I'll
wrong?
have to go back and watch the footage. I don't remember.
No, Brody,
I
the
could have
correct
sworn you brought
answer
that up.
Brody, the
Yes,
correct
brilliant.
answer is yes, I knew.
Yes,
And I
nailed it.
knew 5 minutes in that he was Kaiser Soze. And
Right.
as
Can't
the
believe
credits
Nate didn't
ended,
figure it
I looked
out.
around.
Right. Okay.
I looked
sorry.
around and said, "Huh, Bruce Willis is sure acting like a ghost in this movie."
But you know what though? It actually really explains the opening credits.
Yeah.
That's the one piece when then finally it all got put together. I'm like, oh, now the opening credits aren't just kind of fun and cool. They make sense.
Yeah.
They do make
In a way
sense.
they did not before.
So, Eric, what was it about this image that it looks like you took a photo of your screen? Because I think
Yeah,
see
I
that-
did, and I promise. I promise if you look
You couldn't
carefully,
straighten it?
I am wearing clothes. I promise that if you
Well,
zoom
then why
in,
should I zoom in, Eric? Why?
you need to zoom in either way. I'm sorry. Yeah, I love the very kind of simple design of this, and how they were able to come up with like a new clock every time, including the knives. So yeah, this kind of remind me of I don't know, like a lot of sci-fi from maybe late 70s, early 80s.
I was literally about to say it looks like a set from Buck Rogers in the 25th Century.
There you
the
go.
TV series, yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing missing is Aaron Gray and skin tight white spandex, and then it would actually be like.
If
and
you
of course,
zoom in, you can see the skin tight white spandex I was wearing.
If I zoom in the other way, will I see heartthrob Gil Gerard? And again, sometimes they're really just for us. You know, I know that it's they say you should do shows for the audience, but I am inclined to
It's really for your
disagree.
co-hosts.
Yeah, right, exactly. So you chose this moment where Agatha says,
Such a
"Let me
great
out,
line.
don't steal her
Love that
struggle."
line.
That is an
Perfect
absolute
line.
That cracks me
Perfect line.
up. Which is funny because I had a friend who's also a mother, Eric, and was talking a lot about how hard that last episode was, especially like dealing with the death of her son and wanting more time despite everything. And she was like, I could quote so many lines from these shows. I can't wait until you watch it. And I was like, is this one of the lines that she was quoting? And then I didn't even think about the stuff with the son. But yeah, don't steal her struggle might be one of my favorite moments of that episode.
What did you like?
Truth here. Just
There's
so
this
you
nice showdown with
Yeah.
Zashir Zamata.
Zamata.
Yeah,
Zamata.
that too. Yeah,
Zamata.
all right. Settle
Tomato.
down. We know. Look,
What's
we know
Zamata
who.
you?
Yeah, exactly. You say Zamata, I say Zamata. Let's call the whole thing off. There was that moment where she stands up to her, and I did like Agatha sort of mockingly, but at the same time, you can tell she's legitimately impressed that Jen, like, oh, all right, is that what we're doing right now? Craig Robinson loves Nate's face palm at the gags. Yeah, look,
I just love Nate's face.
Nate just humors us. He's just like, I don't know what these guys are talking about, but we
Wait.
appreciate him being here all the time.
There was also a music cue right after this moment when she gets her powers back. And even though she didn't yell, I have the power, which I was hoping she would, the music actually, it's kind of a deep track, but Peter Gabriel's score for the Last Temptation of Christ, there was a little bit of a music cue that I heard. I'm like, wait, did they literally use a piece of his score?
Oh, I'm sure they did.
There was enough notes different that no one's suing anyone, but
Of course.
Oh,
It's probably a
beautiful
reference.
music. It was such a beautiful music moment. And again, also, yeah, if you're going to sound check someone, why not do something in terms of a rebirth? Music that was good enough for Jesus Christ is good enough for her. So it was that moment when she gets her powers back, I thought was just simple, really beautiful, and also just her acting. My wife was a fan of her from what was that British show she did? Do you guys know this actress? She had recognized her from that and was a huge
No,
fan.
I mean, I knew she was on Saturday Night Live.
Recognized her
That's
from
actually
SNL.
that's all I know
Yeah.
her from. Yeah. But
maybe it wasn't a British
oh,
show then. But anyway.
no, well, that British series, Saturday Night Live, perhaps. Yeah. Oh, look, Eric and his wife watch British television. Well, hello.
Eric's wife does. Eric
Oh,
does
no.
not.
Yeah.
Was it from Unfrosted? No. I'm looking through her stuff right now.
All the scenes involving the chicken.
Home economics? Is it home economics? No.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, you know
maybe.
what,
Yeah,
it's
which isn't
funny
British,
because
right?
my wife watches that show too, but she doesn't
Say
pretend
it
it's
like you
British.
mean it, though, Jen. There
Yeah.
was so much crackling sexual tension in this show, and that dialogue oftentimes would dance right on that edge. And she said it like she meant it. Which
This is
also
what we were
Christian
talking
does.
about when she got her powers back, and in here in the chat, Cam Egan commenting on the 100 years, and it's like, I didn't know it was you. Come on.
I mean, but like that also kind of goes to the flippancy of Agatha with other witches, and like she knows what it's like to not have power and to go through that for 100 years. And luckily, Sashir got away. Like Jen got away, which I feel like there has got to be some kind of reconciliation with that and Agatha. But why is Agatha so anti-witch? I'm so curious about that. I feel like that's one of the questions that we didn't quite answer.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think that it's sort of hating the competition. You know, she's not hating the game, but hating all of the players. She wants to be like the big, at the top of Witch Mountain, and she doesn't want anyone else to be there. And that's probably why she's like, oh, we don't need to kill them to steal their powers, but it's kind of awesome to steal their powers, and killing them. Well, we didn't. No, anyway. So we had.
Christian, how did her mother not know that she had that power? Like we see the coven try to kill her at the stake, and her mother was one of them.
Yeah.
And she takes all of their power and kills them, including her own mother. Did
That's
her
a
mom
great
not know she
question.
has that? Thank you.
Does your mom know everything about you?
She does.
Everyone.
She did. Yeah, she did pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
But if I had a power, like I was good at math, my mother knew I was good at math. I didn't keep that from her.
So
did
she keep up on the
Agatha
Brooklyn
may
Boys?
not have known too.
She was on when she was around. She was on a bunch of episodes of the Brooklyn Boys. Yes.
All right. See, so obviously your mom had great taste, and
She did.
but I don't know. Does anybody else have any thoughts on that? Because I don't. I mean, Brody's the one with the great question.
No, it is. It's a great question. I think it like as much as this show kind of showed us sort of how magic works within the new MCU realm, I still think we have a lot more questions in regards to Agatha and like what her intentions are, what her powers were, and how they came about, because she killed her mom and her mom's coven. So why?
Obviously we're on a network called Geekscape, but does anybody want a particularly exceptionally nerdy comment from inside the chat? Because you're going to get it from Daniel Drew. OMG, Agatha's a Dalek. She wants to be the only witch, like they want to be the only species in existence. Now, you know what? Thank you for reminding me. I do watch British television. So thank you very much, Daniel.
You watch Benny Hill.
No, I mean, I try to recreate certain scenes from Benny Hill. It's not really the same thing. And Ladastro in the chat, that was probably part of Agatha's practicing above her station. Yeah, look, I mean, I think that you probably don't want to let other witches know what an all-powerful witch you are, and that your abilities include being able to steal witchiness, I think is the technical term. And Chris Tuttle had this earlier, and we keep talking about her on this show, and multiple people have corrected the way that I say her name, but let's put it up on the screen. And there she is, British actress Sashir Zamata. She was on SNL for a couple of years, and I've she'll like turn up in movies sometimes, but I thought she was great in this. I do think that the casting of all the witches and of Billy. I think that this was an incredibly well cast show, is my point. I think that we can have our questions about, like, how about a little bit more time for Alice and all of that. I was interested. I mean, if she wasn't well cast, probably we wouldn't be talking about, like, we could have used more of her. And I did like that there were a few threads left from the prior episodes. Essentially, we're dealing with Agatha and death, and predominantly in the 9th episode, it's really sort of just a little bit more dealing with Agatha and Nicholas Scratch, but it's really like Billy's kind of, the spotlight is really on him, and just the abilities that he has, that he's the son of the Scarlet Witch, which no pun intended by saying witch after witch being spelled the other way. If they don't want to bring Wanda back, sometimes you do that for money reasons. Sometimes actors want to move on. You've got Billy, and any stories that you want to do with the Scarlet Witch, you could tell them with Billy. They'd be all right with that. I feel like I didn't feel like at the end of Multiverse of Madness, I didn't personally feel like Wanda's story was over. I would like to see her again, but I guess
there are stories with the Scarlet Witch you cannot do with Billy.
Well, I mean,
if you want to show the Scarlet Witch having sex with Vision, you can't substitute.
Right.
Billy into that.
Not with that
Brody,
attitude.
I love that that's the first thing that your mind
Brody,
goes to.
Disney's really going strong.
Brody, why do you
said
gotta?
that and you immediately went, "Oh no,
Oh,
can't have sex."
Brody,
with
why
Vision
you got to
now."
dip in the blue ink?
Because my mind races to every possibility, like war games, like all the possibilities.
I do want to ask before you get to your point, Katie. What did you share here, other than the fact of how filthy your iPad screen is?
Actually, it's only in my defense, only some of that is my filth. That's the underwater scene. I had gotten. I thought I sent you the better image of this. I like that his brother's. The body he's going to use to replace his brother died in the same way as Jason Voorhees. Which excited me. It was like, okay, cool.
At the end of part 6, I believe. Yes.
The child drowning excited you?
Yes, it did.
All right. No one said that.
Okay, but I'm the one thinking weird shit. I'm the guy.
You're the one that's proposing that the son sleeps with his father.
No,
but now I'm realizing
that was
Nate's
Christian.
Right.
That was Christian who proposed it. I just pointed it out.
I'm thinking small scale, like you could do House of M with Billy. All right, but
you said any plot.
You have to give us mutants before you do no more mutants.
And that is the real track, because we've been wanting to see House of M for so long, but we need the build up for it. And maybe they're laying the pathwork to do something like that. Maybe they're going to do something different with that sort of in mind. It is interesting that they had a real Witch's Road in the comic, and then they made it part of what Billy created to reality. I think that's something interesting within the MCU, or at least the television universe, of what they're going for, what they might change something to be to fit within the universe that we're seeing on screen. But I am curious, how much of his power did he give to Agatha? And like, where's the
where's the bar? Moment, and he says like, "Hey, don't take it all."
Yeah,
but it seems like she's taking but it seems like she's taking way more than he thought. He's like,
the line went almost incredibly purple, and it just and then like once it got to his hands, she pretty much cut it off. But it was like, is this a rechargeable battery? Does he get more power? Like, is he less accurate?
Is he less powerful now? Yeah. Daniel Drew, actually, speaking of getting powers, what if Agatha got that power stealing ability from Death?
That's my question.
As though she was strong before, but that specific power is part of the initial deal with Death, though we don't know when they met. Probably on Hinge, if I had to guess. But
I took a note, because we meet Agatha in this series. The earliest we meet her is in 1750, when Nicholas Scratch is about to be born. Agatha kills her mother in the Coven in 1693. So that's like a good 60-ish years, like maybe 57 years later. So there's something with her timeline that there's something more to her and death. There's some kind of a deal. Clearly, what's interesting is that we had that whole vision of the Darkhold in the baby crib, but we know that that's not what happened, because that's what Death says. Why do you let them believe that?
Right.
And we also know that that was Billy's interpretation of what she did, but I got freaked out. So
Yeah.
I find it interesting.
Well, in this moment that I misread it at first, I thought that this image that Eric sent me was shouting out his favorite song by The Cure, but this is actually just the line where she says, "Boys die."
I was
And-
singing that quite a bit actually during that. Yeah, the boys die moment was when you realize, like, oh shoot, it is going to go there, because at this point I'm like, that's the missing piece of her backstory. Is
Yes.
exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Well, that and then that is sort of a to use another reference to Kaiser Soze. It's sort of the one thing that's missing. Like, oh wait, it all makes sense now. And you liked the "I want my prize" and Death's response, "So do I." And I can see you in this picture better than I can see.
Hey, take your own
That's
take your own pictures, effort.
No, look, I don't know how. And if you can see how filthy the screen is,
The
that I'm
best
looking
part-
at you right now. Go ahead, Nate.
The
sorry.
best part is it is a picture not of the show. It is a picture of a screenshot of the show.
My iPad doesn't let me do screen grabs from Disney Plus.
No one's allowed
No,
to. It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's a work
Disney
in
No,
Plus
progress.
no, because listen, this is what you do. You go. It's like how they went. At first, they came after Billy, then they came after Alice, then they came after me. This is our witches' road we've been on, and you guys are on it longer. I joined later.
Eric, are you gonna die?
And when they came after Eric, I did nothing.
I said nothing.
And then they came after me, and there was nobody there to help me.
This show takes a dark turn in its back half.
But
I appreciate the pictures.
No, you
yeah,
don't.
no, I
Don't
do.
appreciate me.
I think our audio audience loves the pictures, but that's why I always try to let them
You know,
know
it's
what
funny.
they are.
The
Yes.
audio audience can see them as clearly as the visual audience, so it's perfect.
Appreciate all the work y'all do.
Hey, have I thanked you for my Loki sauce lately, Eric? Thank you.
Yeah,
very
thank you for nothing.
I'm a covenless witch. That was a nice line. And
That's a very dark kiss.
Eric, you actually didn't mean to send this to me. You actually, this is the new
Meant to keep this.
wallpaper on your iPad, right?
And phone.
Yep.
And fun. Well, why don't you talk about why you sent this this image and describe it for our audio audience?
And for me, I don't know what it is.
When two women like each. Yeah, this is where it gets weird, because this was actually a screen grab from watching this on my computer. So I'm not sure why this was
Because it's a big
selected.
moment in Disney.
Yeah, apparently they darkened it. Say what you will for Disney, for corporate, whatever, but the truth is, like, this show has been bold.
Yeah.
This is not the first same-sex kiss in this series. This is not the first sexual tension between them, but this was the most, like, prolonged moment of intimacy between these characters, and they're not shying away. It's not like a quick kiss. Then they cut to a random shot of blue lightning. Like, this is, or a hot dog. This is basically a real moment, and I think, to the credit of these creators, they were like, you know what, this show is going to have this sort of sexual tension between these witches, and they're not trying to hide it or sugarcoat it or anything. And that was like, this is a moment I'm like, I was impressed. I'm glad Disney sort of had the courage of its creators' convictions, or at least had their back, so that they could
I
do
think
these
supported
moments.
and I think that it obviously, if there were sort of, let's just say, restrictions that you would have had on, say, broadcast television, maybe not even in 2024, but decades ago, you're sort of hampered from telling the story that you actually want to. So yeah, I think that the fact that they're able to actually explore this relationship is great. And this is I think when I picked you up to go, actually no, when I dropped you off after seeing Venom, this is what you looked like. You had some citrus in your mouth. There was muffled screaming for what we had just watched, right, Eric?
Yeah, no, I felt seen in this moment. The lemon, I was hoping one of you much smarter people than myself could figure out the significance of the lemon.
I think
Oh,
I
the
think
muffle.
It might be at a muffle, but I mean, she's deep in the woods, so I can't imagine. I feel like it might be some kind of a witch thing to like hold something in her mouth in order to have a better birth, or maybe make the pain not as much, or distract her from the actual pain of birth.
See,
I hate a
I
birth scene. I just have to say, I hate
Yeah.
a birth scene, and they went so hard on this scene,
Yeah.
especially with the
The
line
blood?
of oh Jesus! I was like,
See-
wow, this is the most gross ass thing ever, and I hate
It's
it.
funny because I was actually thinking about how they really sanitized the experience, and I was like, oh, it wasn't nearly what I thought it was going to be, especially because she was having a difficult birth, and it felt a little bit disingenuous. But the fact that Katie, you were grossed out by it, means that they already did too much. So I will defer to your instincts that perhaps we don't need graphic birth scenes. Marvel.
I think the fruit, like whenever you see surgery done on somebody who's shot and there's no anesthesia, they
They
always
do
put
that,
something in
right.
their mouth to bite
Yeah.
down on, so you don't bite your tongue and you don't, the pressure, like you're gritting your teeth. I think that's what it was for, just to
Yeah,
the
That makes sense. I
childbirth.
wasn't sure why it was a lemon. I kept thinking,
I-
like, was there something I
I-
missed? Was there?
I think that's all. I think it was an orange, but I think that was all she had was
That was
the
a lemon.
orange. Was it a lemon?
That was 11.
I mean, it looks like a lemon, but at the same time, it's you're going to tell me that life was bad in the 1650s. I mean, they have like fresh fruit around, so obviously, you might have to deal with.
Maybe she Googled what the best thing to put in her mouth was, and Google at that time said a lemon that
Yeah.
looks like an orange.
this
And,
is one of my favorite
I-
lines of the whole episode.
I know. I don't know how many
You don't need
times
to color
I've gotten a
correct your
text from
TV.
Eric Connor that says this. We can kill more witches tomorrow. And I'm sorry, Nate. What were you saying?
David might need to color correct his TV.
Oh, this is Eric's TV. Yeah.
No, but he thought it was the orange.
Oh,
you know what?
I see.
I remember it as an orange, but I think if I saw it again, I would realize it was a lemon. I apologize, everyone.
Life
I
gives
just
you
don't
lemon.
remember the pointy ends on.
maybe
sorry.
the kid was going to be born with scurvy, and she knew
Right,
that,
right.
and she was
Yes.
getting those last minute vitamins in before she gave birth.
Yeah, I thought it was like some weird prayer or ritual thing that she did. Oh yes, my
I
poster
know,
for Young Avengers.
I know. You didn't need to hold it up on your phone. I was going to get to it.
Oh, you're a busy man. You got all sorts of
I
stuff.
know it's
to go
true. I do. Okay.
And-
So you made an image of Young Avengers, and this was something that came up earlier in the chat. I mean, the idea of Young Avengers is, I'm like, yeah, I think that I can see us getting, at least most of these characters. We had that scene. It was in the Marvels that Ms. Marvel tracks down Kate Bishop. So we've seen sort of it starting to build. We're going to have Riri Williams later this year, and we're going to do an episode next week where we sort of go over that trailer that had a bunch of stuff. I had thought about including it in this episode, and then I realized we had 2 episodes to get to. Is there any thoughts you had on this image that you're proud of, Eric? I'll bring it back up, but I want to make sure that I get everything in there. But
well, in
now
response to Ivan Soto's question, whose glasses? That of course is legendary character, the banker, from what was it? Winter Soldier? No, from Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier. Yeah.
And I had an image in mind of how we could bring him back. That they all have to get a small business to business loan in order to get Young Avengers up and running, and thus
They don't have credit.
You do love the banker like nobody's business. We're going to wrap up in a moment, but I know, Nate, you have to run. Do you have any final thoughts about Agatha All Along before we bid you adieu?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I stuck it through.
It's a lemon. Sorry.
For the listener, Brody just figured out it's a lemon.
It's a lemon.
This is the harshest talk I've ever seen from Ivan Soto. Oh, the banker douchebag.
Ooh.
I mean, to be fair,
No, he's not
That
wrong.
means that
Okay,
Oh,
but I'm
wow.
sorry. I wanted to let
Everybody
Nate
knows their
finish his
fruit.
thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed the show. Looking forward to more of this kind of thing where they're able to like really dive in on a theme and give it the justice it deserves and not kind of like dilute it to be kind of like for everyone. And yeah, I think if we get more of these type of intros to characters that are going to be on this Young Avengers team, Like I think Hawkeye did another good job of like kind of passing the torch and introducing this other character without marketing the show as like, hey, here's a new character. More intros like this are going to make Young Avengers like much more exciting when it finally comes around and feel really earned and like rewarding, kind of like how the first Avengers felt. So I think that's kind of what they're going for, and so far I think they're executing it very well. And I'm glad that we get to have Catherine Hahn still kind of reprise her role as a ghost and be kind of like a mentorish figure, a couple cameos here and there. It is nice to have a solid ending for the character that I think kind of makes sense, death wise, while also still being able to maintain using that great talent and character development that's already happened with the show and such.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree, and it is something that we will talk about next week. I'll check with everybody's schedules. We want to talk about what's to come in 2025, Disney Plus, but also theatrically. But Nate, we'll let you go. Where can people keep in touch with you if they want to continue the conversation?
You can find me on the internet. You don't have to try that hard. And also, I will be here talking about more Marvel stuff with my friends.
All right. Well, we
Bye.
are always glad to have you here. Thank you so much, Nate Miller. And William Walton saying there's going to be 6 shows out next year, even though I thought they had said in the past they were going to reduce the amount of content going out each year. 2 of those are animation, and I'm not here to discount the animation, but I think that the animation has been pretty much consistent the whole time. It's sort of additional to the live action stuff. Daniel Drew, Marvel content for 13 months in a row, minus September 2025. I'm sorry that Daniel Drew, I did not see your comment about the number of this show. So if you want to put that again in the comment, I was trying to color correct Eric's screenshots. It was a lot of work on this show. I want to finish up by asking each of you any sort of final thoughts. I'll just sort of go first and say that I did have fun with the show. It occasionally felt like a slog. I felt disrespected by that 24-minute episode. I'm not going to lie. But as a whole, I think that this was one of those projects that far exceeded my expectations for it, even once I started watching it. And I was glad. It was fun. I was never concerned about getting more Catherine Hahn as Agatha. I was just wondering what they were going to do about it. But Brody, what are your thoughts sort of as we look back?
Well, I think initially I didn't enjoy the show. I didn't enjoy the MacGruber stuff at the beginning and the constant singing. It was all kind of goofy and young for me. It just seemed very goofy, very CW. Yeah. And then as mysteries popped up and there was more character development and more of a dark theme, much like Eric's pictures, I enjoyed the show more.
I think Eric's gonna fight you. The next time that
it's hard to see with the mouth covered. So
the next time he's like, "Hey, Brody, you want to go to a pizza place again?" The only reason he's gonna go is so that he can smash your face into a pizza pie.
We had a great time. You'd be nice.
I wouldn't waste pizza like that.
Yeah,
that's right.
Thank you. I appreciate the respect for pizza. Good.
Unless it was Delaware pizza.
Such a thing exists.
I don't know. Does it?
Bread.
By the way, one of the best episodes of Taxi was when was it Christopher Lloyd was watching all the TVs and he wanted to see if they were going to call. It was a special court scene or a vote to see if they were going to call people from Delaware Delawareans or Delawareites. Do you remember that?
I don't, but
I don't remember that.
What I'll be looking for tonight now.
I do enjoy some nice Taxi.
He got money or something, so he spent all the money on having like a wall of televisions in his apartment. And Alex says to him, "What are you watching?" He goes, "I want to see if they're going to decide on whether to call people from Delaware Delawareans or Delawareites." So you have to look that up. There you go.
We all know they're Delawareans. What does our resident Delawarean think as we look back on 9 episodes of Agatha All Along, Eric?
Oh no, I'm too busy trying to make sure that like all my screen grabs are up to snuff for this crowd who worked so hard on getting their own.
If it makes you feel any better, the listener Michael liked your screen grabs.
He said it was his favorite part of this show.
Yeah.
If he's been watching on YouTube. He's just listening. He's just listening on his old AM radio. Yeah, this was a show that my own bruised ego aside, which the beard will cover now. Beard and sunglasses are covering pain and shame, even more than usual. But there is still Loki sauce and the leftover, whatever her name is, Carmela Creeper cereal, which is now turned into a gas. I thought they really this was a show that similar to you, Christian. I wasn't feeling like, oh yeah, I need more Agatha.
Yeah.
But I thought one thing that was kind of cool was, sometimes they forget the shows. They sort of Loki season 2, of course, reference Loki season 1, but a lot of these TV shows have been treated kind of like afterthoughts, dismissed with like a sentence or two in a movie.
Yeah.
But I like that they kept bringing back WandaVision. And also I was really impressed they brought back one of the darker moments in any of the Marvel properties of recent years, which was when in essence, Wanda had to make it all go away and basically had to make her love and her children disappear at the end of WandaVision. And that they circled back to that moment. I was really impressed with some of the emotional quality of this. I think this show got better as it went on, as mentioned up top. And I don't know how much more of this we need. Let's go find your brother. If cut to, I don't know, Young Avengers show, and in the first 5 minutes, oh, there he is, and then we're good. That's fine.
But Billy, your brother was here with you all along.
All along, you just had.
Well, then why did I just spend the last 2 hours looking for him? All right.
Yeah.
You know how witches are and holding back their.
Yeah, they go to Camp Crystal Lake, and there he is. Hey, what's going on, bro? And then we move onward. That's fine with me. I don't think we necessarily need to go back to this, but yet I'm really impressed with what they pulled off here, because this is one that easily could have been terrible. And it wasn't. It was quite good.
There were times where I felt like it was heading in that direction. I never felt like it was actually terrible. I do sometimes fold laundry during shows I actively like already, but sometimes when yeah, exactly. So our final thoughts on this should go obviously to Katie Hampton, who was the biggest cheerleader for this show from the beginning. You stayed the course. Some of us wavered, but you did not.
No, and I'm really glad that we all kind of went through this together. Just because I did I saw a lot of the things that I agree felt like it was going to go towards a rough episode or a rough thought line or whatever they were doing. I saw some of those things oh, what are we doing on this? Are we going to make this too young? Are we going to make this too whatever, to this, to that? I thought it did a really great job, and it really delved into some stuff that we haven't touched in the MCU yet. I was grateful that you all kind of stuck along for the ride, because it was wait, we just gotta wait this out. We gotta wait a couple of these moments out, and I'm glad, A, for the show, and B, for all of us to be able to get to see all of this together, and then still have more questions where we want to see the answers to.
Right. Because there's shows where at the end of a season that I'm just I've got so many questions, but honestly, I don't give a damn anymore.
Right. I'm still very curious about Agatha. I'm still very curious about Death. I'm so utterly stoked for Aubrey Plaza going forward in the MCU. I think there's so much that she can do. There's so many different properties that she can pop up in, and I am very excited for that going forward.
Yes, and this is what Daniel was referring to earlier. This is the 50th non-special episode of Marvel Movie Talk on Geekscape. We have had 15 specials, including
they're all special.
Last week's Venom that we also did, or that was earlier this week. It all runs together. So we've done 65 with our friends here at Geekscape, so we appreciate that. And yes, it is always fun to get a chance to talk about all this stuff. And by the way, Daniel pre-ordered Hawkeye and Loki season 2 on 4K Blu-ray. Shout out Physical Media. Brody, I know I'm going to see you again in a few minutes, so why don't I let you do your plugs first, and then you can pop out for a pit stop. But where can people find you, David Brody?
Find me at David Brody, Brody, on most social media, Instagram, Twitter. That's it. That's most. Yeah.
And the Brooklyn Boys
TikTok,
podcast. Wherever you find podcasts.
Well, yes. Thank you very much for the plug, Brooklyn Boys the Brooklyn Boys podcast, wherever you find your podcasts. New episode dropped yesterday. I believe it's called Pies, Cakes, and Cholesterol. So check that
Ooh.
episode out. My co-host may be dying.
Oh, well, great. Don't give us any more information. Everybody should
That's it.
tune in. And speaking of tuning in, join Brody, myself, and David Weiss. And I extended an invite to Eric
Oh,
Connor.
welcome
He
back.
didn't get back to me.
Yes.
Okay. So everybody you see
Just-
on the screen. Wait,
Just
actually.
Katie. Just Katie's.
So you'll see all of us
Oh,
over on
no.
the Blackcast YouTube channel. We're going to talk about postseason baseball. Aren't you glad that you're missing out on that, Katie? So you can go find us over at the
Go Dodgers.
Blackcast. Basically, we're going to talk. Look, we have to talk about the Dodgers.
Talk about Freddie Freeman, man. OG Braves.
It's all in there. It's all in there. Don't worry. So thank you for teasing that show. David Brody, we'll see you over there in mere minutes. Eric Connor, we'll see you over there as well. What would you like to promote?
Well, me and my mediocre screen caps and screen grabs all already voted, and I encourage you all to do the
That's
same.
how you know it actually really bothers him. He's still making jokes about it. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead, Eric. What was that?
No, we all voted already. I recommend you do the same. And whatever may come on Tuesday, expect a fair amount of drinking in this person's account, Eric Connor account on Instagram and X. And in person, you can find me, I don't know, somehow in Burbank. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you over in Baseball Talk.
Yeah, we'll talk baseball over there on the Blackcast YouTube channel. That's where we're going to be. And I will say goodbye to our friend Katie. But I did you brought this to my attention, Chris Tuttle. I've never seen an episode, but I've enjoyed this podcast. But I watched The Room with no knowledge of the story. So I think saying that you just kind of checked it out, but we appreciate it. And I enjoy this. Great show as always. Chris Tuttle, baseball, Yanks. Oh, we have to talk about the Yankees if you're going to talk about October. And we'll talk about how the season ended very abruptly over there in the Bronx, and how probably a lot of us thought that they would be playing again in Los Angeles tonight. But instead, I'm staying inside because there's if you see the parade is just stay in the Valley. Katie Hampton, where can people find you?
You can always find me at ElSassyPants, ElSassyPants, sometimes with a Z. You can also find me on the Napping Through Happy Hour podcast. We talk real life, real drama in real time. Don't worry, guys. My dad survived the open heart surgery, so we're all good here. And you know what? Don't forget to vote on Tuesday. Please, let's just finish this. Loki.
Yeah, vote Loki. You know what? I should have had that image of the Loki running for office. Anyway, thank you, Katie. Thank you to everybody in the live chat. We will see you next week, Thursday, Friday. I'm not sure. I'll let you know. Follow me at Christian DMZ. I'll make sure everybody knows when they'll be able to see us. And we will talk about what's coming in 2025. That's all the time we have for now, because I have to pop over to my other channel literally right now over there on the Blackcast, BLADTCAST. And as the great Stan Lee would say, Excelsior!